YouTube. Chelsea, the Reading Outlaw, here to do a review of Dumplin by Julie Murphy. For those of you who watched my resolutions in 2016 video, you will know that I read this for a couple reasons. One, because it was one of my carryover checkouts from 2015, and I was excited enough about it to want to keep it checked out from 2015 into 2016. It is also the first book in a new kind of project I'm undertaking on the channel called What You're Reading, where I will be reading a couple of YA books every month, if not more than that. One front list and one back list, in the effort to keep myself up to date and familiar and kind of ever growing in my knowledge of the field of young adult literature, since it's the field in which I work. So, like I said, the first installment of that was Dumplin by Julie Murphy. Because I've shown it on my channel a couple of times, I'm pretty sure I've told you guys what it's about, but I will do it again. Anyway, Willow Dean Dixon lives in this small town where her mom runs, or is, a former beauty pageant winner and continues to run the beauty pageant. She goes to high school, she works at a fast food place, she lives a fairly typical life, except that Dumplin is a big girl. Dumplin is kind of a big girl. She's described as not just being like your average big, but being a big girl. And throughout the whole book is really just kind of about Willow Dean's struggles or vacillations or oscillations between how she feels about herself and how she feels about herself in the eyes of other people, and how she worries about society and doesn't worry about society. I love this book so much, you guys. I gave this book 5 stars on Goodreads. The thing that I love the most about this book is that this book is all at once about Dumplin and her body, and at the same time absolutely nothing about Dumplin and her body. In kind of a way to pay tribute and remember her deceased aunt, and as a way to both get back at her mom and also as an attempt to understand her mom, Willow Dean decides to join the local pageant with kind of a group of other like misfit girls. One of them's got a limp and has to wear orthopedic shoes. One of them has big buck teeth and gets made fun of a lot. One of them comes from a super Christian home. And so her and these kind of gang of quote-unquote misfits decide that they're going to join the pageant, and that opens up a whole new world of things for Dumplin. She's also dealing with guy issues. That's probably my favorite part of the whole book, because the boy issues in this book, it's not like a will they, won't they, does he, doesn't he, like reckless pining situation. If anything, the reckless pining is happening on behalf of the boy for Willow Dean. And that's something we don't see a lot in literature in general, is guys pining away for girls, but let alone guys pining away for big girls. So I just love that. The big thing in this book is that Dumplin loves her body until her body has to interact with like the outside world. So as much as anybody can be, she is confident, she is willing to tell people to fuck off, she doesn't care, but then this guy that she likes, who likes her, tries to touch her, and all of a sudden the only thing she can think about is her body and the physicality of herself and her place physically in this world, and how that doesn't seem to fit with him physically in his sense of the world. And so she goes back and forth on how she feels about him in addition to how he feels about her, but then how could they be together in this society that clearly won't not accept them, but who just won't let them be without some sense of ridicule. So as a big girl, as a girl who was formerly bigger and who's working on getting smaller, but who has always been a big girl, I wish this is the kind of book that I'd had when I was like 14 or 15, because I think Willow Dean just makes such a great role model for so many things. Like I said, this book is about her weight, but it's also nothing about her weight. This is also a really, really good book about mourning the loss of a loved one. Willow Dean's aunt has recently passed away, so both her and Willow Dean's mom are kind of going back and forth in the struggle of how do we remember her but not enshrine her, how do we love her but not, deify her, how do we, all of these kinds of push and pulls. And Willow feels very protective of her aunt because her aunt was also a big girl, and her mom got skinny in high school, and so her mom has always kind of lived as a skinny girl. So yeah, there's a lot about this book that uses weight and the physicality of the body to wrap up kind of these other themes of loyalty and family and friendship and romance and kind of all of these bigger picture items. And I just really, really, really enjoyed it. The book wasn't perfect. There were a couple moments I felt like things could have been a little fleshed out. I felt like the side story with kind of this other guy was really only there as a distraction from kind of the main romance of the story, which maybe that's what it was supposed to be. Like maybe it was supposed to be like a literal distraction for Willow Dean, but it felt like more just as a distraction for the reader. So that like wasn't the best. I also felt like there were some moments where her little group of friends kind of all blurs together, her little group of like misfit friends, because they all have very similar sounding names. Not a big deal, but just something that happened. So while not, you know, an absolute perfect read, it was a perfect enough read for me to give it 5 stars and to say that you all should go read it right now, immediately. Do not hesitate. Go pick up Dumplin. It will make you smile, especially if you're a Dolly Parton fan. All right, guys, let me know down below if you've read it or if you want to read it, if you have any other suggestions for what I should be reading next. And as always, you can like, subscribe, and I'll see you in a whole bunch of different places around the internet. Bye, guys.